Foreign Affairs Committee member Tim Burchett. Congressman, thanks very much for being here. What should the response be to Iran, given all of these attacks on U.S. bases in the Middle East?
Well, first of all, I hate to be so blunt, but we should stop kissing their butt. You know, we released billions of dollars to them allegedly in aid. We've tried to. This White House has tried to negotiate some sort of a nuclear deal with them. Then in Iran saying we need a ceasefire. Now, how do you negotiate a ceasefire with a group of terrorists that literally cut the throats of babies? And that rape women and take defenseless civilians and Americans as well as hostage. This whole thing is just convoluted. The only way we're going to negotiate this is let the Israelis at the end of a barrel of a gun.
Well, I mean, are we getting closer to war with Iran? I mean, where is this going?
Well, I don't know that we've ever not been close to war with Iran, actually. You know, we're bringing in the submarine. Of course, that's more of a support role. I believe we have 14 ships in that, 12, I believe, that we put in the Mediterranean, one of the largest carrier fleets in the world. The Gerald R. Ford, I believe, is there as well. So I believe it's more of a support role. But, yeah, I mean, Iran is always on our list. But, again, this White House continues to want to negotiate with these people. And you economically, you cut them off. We don't need to put any boots on the ground. We can economically cut them off. If we would start generating oil in this country more, if we would release the pipelines and all the permits that this White House seems to always, they're always saying, well, we're permitting wells. Well, they're not permitting the pipelines that flow the oil. And now OPEC's raising their prices, and as you well know, the ships are coming over here to pick up oil in this country, and we need to unleash America's fury in our economic in the economic department, and I believe that would do more than anything else.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we need to have confidence that the economy is stabilizing. We're now just 10 days away from a potential government shutdown. Sources are telling Fox News that House Republicans are aiming to bring that short-term government spending bill up for a vote by the end of the week. With that vote possibly happening on Thursday, Congressman, what can you tell us? I know Speaker Johnson said that he would be okay with a continuing resolution to take us to January 15th or so. What are the plans?
Well, I'm not a big fan of those continued resolutions. You know, Marie, I've never voted for one in the past. I think we ought to seriously. Jody Arrington chairs our budget committee, and honestly, that committee was worthless. I asked to be taken off of it a couple of years ago because they never did a dadgum budget under Democrat control, and this Congress has not done a budget in 30 years. I think that would send a firm message to Wall Street and to America that we are taking this job serious if we would literally let Jody Arrington bring forward a budget, and let's vote on a budget. Let's individually break it down. Let's stay on the floor till late at night. I know that causes wringing of hands and gnashing of teeth when Congress has to stay past 10 o'clock at night, but dadgummit, it's important. But currently, maybe you don't, it hasn't been released yet, but the Freedom Caucus and some of those folks have released more of a ladder CR, which will implement a CR over a course of time, and it will cause the Appropriations Committee to do their work out in front of the public, which I think is needed as well when they break down those individual spending bills, something like that. And a CR, the history of the CR is that it was originally it was an emergency type situation, and now it's just become a way of life the last 30 years. Well, we're sort of in an emergency situation. We have a new speaker, his back's against the wall, and it may be time to I'm not sure if this is the time or not, but it may be time to give him a breather.
Well, let's talk about the other investigations underway, because, Congressman, you're on the House Oversight Committee, and I spoke with Chairman James Comer on Sunday Morning Futures this week about the influence peddling investigation and when we'll see subpoenas here. He told me there are about 12, there are about 24 subpoenas he's expecting to issue, and it could be imminent. Here's James Comer with me Sunday. Watch.
The subpoenas are imminent. I think this is going to be a big week. There are also a lot of other documents that I think are about to be released this week pertaining to loans and different things that the Bidens have been engaged in that make no sense, that are completely counter to what Joe Biden has said publicly. I don't think the average person can imagine how many different checking accounts the president's son had, and considering he didn't have a legitimate business, that in itself is an enormous red flag. So once all those come in, I think you're going to see swift action on Biden's, and I would predict somewhere around 24 subpoenas in the very near future.
Congressman, what can you tell us about this?
Well, you have 24 subpoenas going out. Eventually, we're going to have to get Hunter on the stand. I'd like to see him up there answering some questions. I'm sure he'll plead the fifth. But you have to realize they had over 100 bank accounts. Now, who in the world has over 100 bank accounts unless you're trying to hide something? I guess that goes with the thousands of pages of emails with the false names that the president was using during all this as well. So a lot of this needs to come out. I guess the frustrating thing with me, Maria, is the fact that there's no proof that they paid a dadgum red cent in taxes. You know, they're on track to over 40. Some people are estimating $50 million they've received from foreign sources, and some of these are criminal entities, pretty much. And there's no proof that they paid a dime in taxes. You and I, if we sell $500 worth of services or product on eBay, we get a letter from the IRS saying that, you know, you got to pay some dadgum taxes on that. So eventually, you know, I think that's what's going to have to happen, is we're going to have to see some proof of that. But the Justice Department, you know, the shady Justice Department, are they going to do anything with any of this information? That's the problem we're going to have, and that's the frustration that I see, Maria.
So are you saying that in addition to influence peddling, potential bribery, the president committed tax fraud or tax evasion as well?
I think so. They have yet to show any proof of paying any taxes, Hunter, or any of this cabal that has surrounded him, Maria.
Congressman, thank you. We'll be watching all of that. Tim Burchett joining us this morning.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.